Welcome to YouTooSpain, broadcasting live on YouTube. On today's show, I'll be chatting with our very good friend Chris from Upsticks, all about living in Spain and in particular healthcare, everything to do with health. As lots of you now know, I was diagnosed with cancer only a week ago. Yay for cancer. That's what I've been saying. How silly is that? And I think it's vital. This is why I've been doing it. It's vital to talk about it. So I'm opening up the live chat to your questions and experiences of not only cancer, but the whole Spanish healthcare system, and also what you need to do to get on it, like the S1 if you're from the UK. So whether you have experiences or not, or whether you're afraid of what might happen to you, join in on the live chat. Or if you're watching the video back afterwards, you can chat in the comments below. There's a chance there will be some dark humour, and I'm not apologising for any of it. I'm playing my cancer card right at the beginning. In fact, I'm going to have a whole pack made of those cards so I can do it willy-nilly. So stick around for the whole thing. Let's talk. You're all very welcome to YouTooSpain. Say after me, still alive, and of course, let's dance. Oh yeah, I like that. Used to have one of those. It's like a ball on the end of a stick with a thing. That's percussion for you. Right then, just before we get chatting, there's going to be a lot of that today. I have a feeling we're going to go off on a lot of tangents. So just before that, don't forget about this lovely thing down there. That's our website. You can sign up for free to the monthly newsletter. It's coming up to the end of the month. The newsletter goes out on the 1st of every month. So I'll be writing that very shortly and updating you on everything that you can get on our website, which is like the written version of what you get here and on Facebook, with all of the different aspects of YouTooSpain, all of the services that we have. And we have a little advert in the middle of every live show telling you all about what you can get. So anyway, very quick mention also for our friends at Smart Currency Exchange, who I highly recommend. Make sure you sign up with them using the link below well in advance of your move or your buying a property in Spain. And that means you can get in touch with them for free and set up a free account. And there's no obligation. It doesn't cost a penny to set it up, and it helps YouTooSpain at no cost to you. Altogether now, it's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Yes, indeed. So without further ado, let's meet my wonderful guest and wonderful friend. It's Chris from Upsticks. Good morning, matey.
Good morning.
How are you doing? You look like you're in the dark this morning. You've had problems with your lighting, haven't you?
I am sorry about the lighting situation. The spring is upon us. I don't know what happened with the camera, but it seems this time of year it comes around and
you get all kinds of flickery light on the screen. It's because the sun is shining right behind you at this time of year, so it makes you dark. But there you go.
We'll have to work out something then. I might have to do it from home or something next time.
That would be terrible, wouldn't it? You just you can lie in until 5 minutes before the show and leap out of bed, and there you are.
In bed. No, I don't do that.
Brilliant. So I should mention this show is also being streamed on Upsticks YouTube channel as well. So if you've got another device or open another tab, watch it on there as well. I think you can turn the volume down on one of them so you don't get double going at the same time. I don't know if that affects it or not. But anyway, do that so Chris gets the watch hours as well, and subscribe to his channel. And let's see. Have you got any shout outs? You were helping people only in Granada yesterday, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to shout out to the Woods family. I don't know if they'll be watching it, but definitely I think Sue, who is part of who we were trying to help them, because they've had a terrible time and they didn't renew their residency. It was withdrawal agreement. Anyway, I have to say also to Granada Foreign Office. Now, we always talk about the bad, don't we? And there's no appointments and this, that, and the other. And Montreal's been a nightmare. But yesterday, we had an agent in Granada who bent over backwards, went to see the sub-delegation to actually get these people sorted out. And it took a couple of hours, but they both, rightfully so, got their permanent residency back. So we have to say yay for Granada. Let's not tell everybody the bad. And also a bit of yay for Malaga, because Malaga's really upped its game this last month. We know it's like a roller coaster. And the renewals and the resolutions that we're getting through have come through really quick now. So we were, when I say really quick, I mean they're not going over the 90 days, but the day. But and also Terry and Jen, who watch the channel, because they both have their residencies now. So yeah.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Talking about people having terrible experiences and not talking about it, could you say something good about BLS in London? Because Simora sent a message saying BLS is horrible. I've been trying to get an appointment for months. I can't begin to explain how horrible their website is. Plus not a single appointment for, and I said, whereabouts are you? She said, London. They need to sort out the appointments. What experience are you having with that?
Right, so the appointments are readily available. So there's two things with the appointments. I have to agree, at the moment, the feedback that we're getting from BLS, we've had people go through their appointment this week, and I'll give a plug for my weekly updates because I always put over their experience on there. So, but it's been that, yeah, it's horrible. Basically, it's really, really busy. It seems unorganized. That's what they're saying. And when you do go, you've got to remember that they purposely, I don't think we've ever said this, but build like these high desks so you really can't see what's going on with your paperwork when you hand it over, So at the moment, but the good news is that the visas are coming out. Okay, aside from some very biblical sized requirement letter that we got this week for one of our clients, most of them are flying out in 3 to 5 weeks, so that's good. For booking the appointment, now the appointments are available nearly next day, but their website is horrible. What you've got to do, what I would advise is that if you're not using Chrome, go on to Chrome to use that and clear your cache and start again, basically, because you might find they use a Cloudflare high security thing, which really, really seems to make it difficult. For our clients, what we're doing actually, what we had to do, because you have to have a photo verification, right? When you're behind the computer, so it's best using a PC rather than a tablet. We find that works. Is we're actually using screen sharing software to jump on the computer with them and go through the process. But yeah, it's a horrible website, and don't forget now they've changed the process at the end where you actually have to pay £14 per applicant to book the appointment, which wasn't part of the process before. And make sure you go to your appointment, they take that off so you don't pay for it twice.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Hope that's good. I hope you're listening in, Simora. I will try and put a comment under your reply down there and let you know that you can get the answer on this video. Excellent. Let's see who's on the live chat. Michael Arthur was on the live chat about 9:25, well before we started, and he has a question. We'll come to that in a moment, Michael, but good morning. He's moving and buying a property, I think, certainly buying a property between Malaga and Nerja.
Nice.
Very nice, very close to me, and to Chris, of course. Okay, Jeanette Harding Wilson, good morning. She has an S1 question. We'll talk about the S1 in a minute. Mr. Lower Largo, top of the morning to you all. It's a beautiful sunny day here again in Torrevieja. That's marvellous. Sunny here up in the mountains as well. A few clouds, but lovely. Bit windy. Andy Cooper, morning all. Adam Farmelo from Wolverhampton. Is it sunny there? Probably not. I'm only guessing. And Paul Cook, who's paired up with your channel, and Janet Stanton also. Anton Cares, good morning y'all. The lovely Ant. And Kev the Argonaut, good morning both. Hope you're feeling good today. Kev's already moved, hasn't he, from where's he living? Somewhere up the coast.
Kev's and Kev's crew are sort of halfway through at the moment.
Are they? Okay.
I'll let him write in the comments where he is, but I think Kev's kicking back in Mercia at the moment. That's what I think he's secretly doing.
Yes.
He has got to come back.
Good stuff. Steffi BC, good morning. She's saying feck off Freddy, FOF, that's what that means. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Anton Kez again, top of the morning to you both from us, John the Joiner. Hi, Skatz and Chris, good morning. All still alive. Yes. And morning all from Robbo. Thanks for joining us again, all of you and everybody who's just joining up. So today, we've got, normally I've got a bit of a script going on so that I know exactly what I'm going to say. But today, we've just got a list of topics because there's so much we can talk about with health. And we could quite easily go off on a tangent today. So it's guaranteed to be a good show from beginning to end. Very chatty. Just before we come on to, I think we might talk about the S1 first because there've already been some questions about that. I just want to talk about something that me and Chris were talking about before we went on the air, and that is the different expressions that happen as you get older, because I don't know if you know, but the sort of age group of people who move to Spain tend to be over 45, more especially 55 to 65, and also some retirees who already have their pensions. And we were just saying, when do you start making noises when you get up out of a chair? What age is that? Tell us all in the live chat. I'm not sure when I started, probably 40. It might even have been 25. I don't know. I think I started early. I thought I was older than I was. And then I stayed at 25, in my head at least, until they told me I had cancer. Suddenly I was a lot older. And there's that expression, it's all downhill from here. I said that to Chris when he was talking about, what were you talking about? I can't remember.
I can't remember. I think it was being tired.
Yeah.
So I can't understand this rest thing that you have to have nowadays. When you get into your 40s, that was never a consideration. I never considered rest. I was like, well, and now I'm like, I'm tired.
Spain's got it off to a T. They have a sleep in the afternoon. It's part of the culture.
I think we're gonna have to look. I've never ever adopted the siesta because I've never been a real big sleeper and always just the way I am. I like running around quite a lot, and but lately I think a little power nap in the afternoon might help.
Yeah, I've only done it really when I've had, say, a gig on a Friday night, and then I've done this show. I have to get up early on a Saturday morning, and then I've got a late night gig on the on the Saturday. So 10, and I find that just 10 minutes really, really works. If I have more than an hour, then I'm groggy and it takes me a while to get back up again, and I have to start on the coffee, and then I can't sleep again late at night. So tires me out even more the following day. So you've got to time it really well, I think.
I'll have to adopt it and see.
Yeah, Steffi says definitely 50 for the noises. I'm sure I started before that, and it's, I think my optician said, was it 45 or was it 55? No, 45. That's when your eyes start to go, because that's when I first got glasses. And Mike Ripper says 30-minute nap in the afternoon is worth 2 hours at night, they say. Jolly good.
43 was when I switched from the Chinese shop glasses, which I was living in denial, to getting varifocals. And these are my second pair, but I do spend a lot of time in front of the computer now. So.
You spend a lot of time losing your glasses as well. So.
I do. I spend an awful lot of time losing my glasses.
Don't do it now, because they're expensive, aren't they? Once you start buying the proper ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's lenses, isn't it? And then when they go, I suppose it's a healthcare subject, and they offer you 3 different types of lenses, and I'm like, I don't know. You tell me which ones are the best. And they're like, "Which one? Just go for those ones, the most expensive ones." Okay, then we'll do that then. So.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the live chat's going past quite fast now. So I'll go back to Michael Arthur. Hello, Michael. Let's answer these questions. The first one's actually about property. How do you guarantee that the house you buy in Spain is totally legally built with planning permission, etc.? There is a way of checking, and it's got a lot better in recent years, hasn't it, Chris? What's the name of the document that you go for at the town hall?
Yes, you can get, basically you can get a nota simple from the land registry, which describes everything. But your lawyer should be able to go to the town hall and get a disclosure document and see if there's anything. The nota simple will tell you on the land registry if it's actually owed anything. Okay, on the properties, that's the financial side. But the town halls are now forced to disclose basically if there's anything wrong with the expediente there, and they're forced, if your property lawyer will go and say, for this property, we want you to disclose what is actually against this property to see if there's anything that they've got currently open against it. So there's actually 2 forms that you can do now. But yeah, I mean, that's a property lawyer question, really, to be honest with you. They would know better than me. But yeah.
And Michael's asking for a recommendation. Look in the video description below. There's at least one property lawyer down there, and tell them that I sent you.
Yeah.
And there we go. And yes, I've already said he's looking for a property between Malaga and Nerja. A lot of good properties around here. And look up in the mountains.
And don't forget, you can get there's an article on our website. But to get this nota simply, you can actually get one. There's a very, very good company who I'm not affiliated with at all, but we use them all the time in Barcelona, called Registro.es, and they get them within 24 hours from the whole of Spain.
Brilliant.
So they have a huge network, and you get it for €25.
Excellent. Jeanette says, hi guys, with your S1, is your, do you mean do your medical records transfer, or do you need to obtain them yourself? And so they need to be translated. They do need to be translated, yeah. You
need to do this yourself. So this is, again, recently, there's something we've been bringing up with our clients, because we always do the visa, the registration, and say bye. So it's a very, very good idea to have your they don't get transferred automatically. So you need to bring your medical records. And don't forget that each GP is different. So you will be signed a GP once you register at your healthcare centre. But then you need to visit that GP and basically give them your records, update them, tell them the tablets that you're on. Some GPs we have seen in areas have actually looked at records which are in English and managed to decipher exactly how they need to continue your treatment. Others have said, no, go away and bring all this back translated to them. I just don't understand. So I suppose it depends on the complication. So recently we just had one where someone had a thyroid problem, for example. Right. Well, there was nothing really needed translating. It was another blood test and a switch to a different drug, because the current drug they were using isn't marketed in Spain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for example. But then if you've got somebody who's got pre-existing conditions or pre-existing illness, then it's probably a good idea to get that translated so they can show that and put it on their system, just in case it comes up in the future.
Yes. And you don't have to get them officially translated by an official Spanish translator, because that'll cost you, I don't know, €50 a page or something like that. So you can do it through ChatGPT or Google Translate or something like that, and get somebody who can speak Spanish well to maybe tidy it up.
Well, you had experience. So here's a question then for you, because we did that with yours, didn't we? But we did it the other way around. So like, free OCR is well, I don't know what it stands for, but it's where it's online. You can just capture text.
Oh yeah, optical character recognition. I think it's called something like that.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. So that's. I mean, to get a quick translation, free OCR and ChatGPT, it does it. I know it's 2 systems, but you can get that for free, essentially quite quickly. It's not always 100. It's never going to be 100% accurate. You need to quickly. Did it translate yours? Okay.
Yeah, I think Liz used Google Translate and then looked up some of the medical terminology in English and made sure that it was the same kind of thing. And she did lots of checks from in medical journals and things like that to get how they say certain words, because there are certain words, medical terminology, that don't quite translate. Actually, a lot of the medical words sound almost exactly the same in Spanish as they do in English, but it's the words that come in between that sometimes you get a bit of a problem with. But she managed to do it quite well. But between the two of you, the translations, we absolutely got the gist of it.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see, any more questions there? Naps in the afternoon. Kev the Argonaut says, man flu today. Renovations on hold for a day till the aches go. Glad to hear visas are coming out of London quite well. I'll tell Terry and Janet was worth an hour queuing in the cold. There you go. And man flu is another thing. Actually, I was talking about, I actually made a note about man flu. Because these common stereotypes about men, especially, there are 2 different stereotypes. One of them is men moan a lot when they're ill. That's the man flu thing. And the other one is, oh no, men are very stoic. They never talk about their problems and they don't moan at all. So which is it? You know?
It's actually both. I don't talk about it until I'm really ill, and then I don't shut up.
Oh no, you've just supported the stereotype. Now.
Sorry, I ignore it completely and go, actually, no, I'm ill.
I suppose that's what I've done. I stuck in with just, there's sometimes I've got pains, sometimes there's blood in my stools. Just don't, it's all right. It's not stabbing pain. It's just an ache. I'm not going to complain about that until suddenly I've gone to the doctors and had it checked out, and they go, we've got to check you for cancer. And now I'm doing a video diary every week and complaining about it. So, fulfilling the stereotype.
Yeah, and I think that's just, and it just means that if you have got it, if you've got a pain, just insist. If the doctor tells you to bugger off once, just go back.
Absolutely. You might be saving your life there. Yeah,
you could do. Go to emergencies. That's, once you've been to emergencies 3 or 4 times, proper emergencies, not the local one. Sometimes that helps as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like in the UK where there's a backlog, where there's emergencies, you can be sitting there for 5 hours before you get any kind of attention. But Robbo says, no, I'm a man of certain age. I have more hair in my ears than on my head. Yeah, the tweezers get an awful lot of use in mine, and the nose as well. Always growing out there. That's why I've always got an itchy nose, and I'm doing that on my videos now. And I got one of those little nose hair trimmers, but the trouble is they grow back really short and sharp, and you're going, really, really hurts. So you have to get the tweezers, and they're thicker when they grow back. So awful. These are the things we can talk about now.
When you get to your 40s and your wife looks at you funny and you think she's going to give you a kiss, but then she plucks a long grey hair out of your eyebrow. That's a sign of getting into your 40s, really, isn't it? So.
Yeah, Michael Alter says 50 years for creaking, 30 minutes nap in the afternoon in the chair is perfect. And S1. Should we talk more about the S1? Did we have a question further up? Robert McGuinness is saying, our plan is for me, EU passport, to apply for residency first before my wife, UK citizen, and I'll be piggybacking off my wife's S1 from med cover. Oh, this is an interesting way. They've got an interesting way to do it, because he's going to be pigging. I can't say that word. Got the wrong teeth in. Piggybacking off my wife's S1 for medical cover. But yes, so he's going to apply first for his residency, but how does he make sure that the S1 cover that his wife has covers him?
Yeah, no, you'll get a separate. So far so good. Let's talk about our experiences. So we've had this in 2 provinces, which have been Almeria and Malaga. And so far so good. Don't forget that you will both get a S1 certificate, and you will figure on the back of a certificate. So your wife will get one that's got nobody on the back, and you will get one with your wife's name, and you will figure as a beneficiary. The person who is in charge of accepting that for your residency as an EU citizen is the person actually behind the desk at the Estancaria, because you have to physically go at your appointment and you get the residency on the day. So far, so good. We haven't had a problem with people who are beneficiaries, but getting their residency for the first time before their spouse. What I would say is, because an EU citizen gets their residency in a day and the paperwork is assessed at the day on the desk, if you do have a problem, then and they turn around and say no, then walk out and book another appointment, see if you get someone different in a different station if possible. So in Malaga, you can go to any station you like now. We've got 7 to get EU residency. So it's really about finding somebody who understands that you qualify behind the desk. But so far, so good.
Great stuff. We have actually a question. It's quite a complicated question, I think, but let's deal with it because it's got the S1 involved. We've got kind of 2 screens that I can share here. This was on Facebook and it was very long, so let's put up the first part of it and see if we can focus on it exactly. So John Carr says, I asked for a friend. She is dual Irish citizenship and Filipino, aged 50, the widow of a British pensioner who was covered on his S1 for full medical services for both of them in Spain, including subsidised prescriptions. He died a few months ago. Her S1 cover stopped. She's not worked in Ireland or Spain. She's not seeking to augment her income, but does not have sufficient income to obtain private medical cover. She's hoping to get free cover, which is provided by RD Lay. That's the law to those who are not working. She's been registered as resident in Spain since before the 24th of April 2012 and has a legislative letter showing they don't have existing medical cover from the NHS. And this continues on. Let's get the other one. Hope you're taking all of this in, because I'm just picking up the second one now. So the second part says, let's see if I can see that. There was a requirement they have an annual income of less than 100,000 euros. However, that was declared unlawful by the EU and thus withdrawn as a requirement. Some say, albeit she may get cover, she will not be entitled to subsidised prescriptions. Is that so? And how does she register, please?
Never done one, but that's the honest truth. But I have heard of this before. The people losing their S1 entitlement if they're riding off the back of somebody they don't qualify themselves. Like last week. Now I think what they're talking about there is that all permanent residents have the right to get healthcare after 10 years.
Yeah,
considered like the same as a Spanish citizen, basically. But what I thought that was if you didn't have the money to actually subsidise it. So everybody, as you know, Spain has a contribution-based system, doesn't it? So
yeah,
if you contribute, then you receive your healthcare. If you don't contribute, but someone else does in a family unit, then you still receive your healthcare. Right? If you don't contribute enough or don't have enough money to, then you have to apply basically for the state to pay for your healthcare.
Yeah.
What permanent residents can do. So this, the requirement for 100,000 euros, to be honest, don't know where, I'd have to look at that. Don't know where that's come from. So I'll definitely research it though, to have a look at it. It was my understanding if you didn't qualify as a permanent resident because of your income, etc., then you would have to go on the Convenio Especial, which is the paid application. And obviously being here for more than a year, they could do that. But yeah, that's about it. But we've never actually done one of these applications, so I don't know.
So yeah, sorry, John. Not sure how you'd register. Where would you have a look?
That's so that's for the Social Security. So the Social Security, what I would take on basically all the documents and exactly what they do with the first registration with the F1. So you'd submit all your documents to them and they would have to approve it or not.
Okay.
So definitely, that's the first point. How does she register, please? The first point of call would be the Social Security.
Yeah. Okay, then. I hope that, well, doesn't quite answer it, but I hope you can follow on from there, John. Let us know what happens. I'll try and get a message through to you if I remember at the end of this, and see if we can help any more, and let us know what happens. Yeah. We may as well do all of the Facebook ones now because there's only a couple more, and one of them is a compliment to the Spanish Health Service, so let's talk about that now. Sally Pert says, having had a few problems, and who doesn't at 75 plus, I have full confidence in the Spanish National Health Service here in Andalusia, and even if finances permitted, I would never go private or back to the UK for medical treatment. Well said. And some people do go private just as a kind of top up, just in case they get, especially, you can get sort of quicker treatment. I had to wait for 10 months for my appointment for the colonoscopy, actually. partly because I said, oh yeah, it's that, because I was being stoic, and I said, it's fine, it's not all the time, you know. So they put me on the non-urgent list. But actually, if I'd been private, then I could have just gone in straight away, and they'd have done it within a week. So some people find it is worth paying for private as well. So depends on your circumstances. Again, it depends. And what do you do, Chris? Are you just on the, because you're self-employed?
Security, always, never had private. I say we've had 2 kids, various operations. You know, I got referred to the private actually for one operation, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, in your experience, Lara had quite a big operation a couple of years ago, and she sort of knew that something was wrong with her, but she had to really insist. And there was a couple of times I just palmed her off, but she got floated about quite a bit until she went 3 or 4 times to emergencies and said, well, unless you push this to wherever it needs to be pushed to, I'm going to be here again tomorrow, really.
Yeah.
And eventually they did push it up, and then they decided that she needed to be operated on. So, sometimes you do have to be a little bit insistent, but but I say our experience has always been very good with social, to be honest.
Yes. Maria Pie, here we go. Enjoy watching both of your channels. If you take the chance and move to Tenerife, or to get an apartment, I think there's a bit missing there, for holidays, how hard would it be to buy land and build? I have to sell a house in UK. Now, you'd have to do that in advance. That would be a bit tricky, because if you need the money to start the building project, then you'd have to sell your house, and then you'd have to rent in the UK presumably, or in Spain. So that might be a tricky thing, because you're putting your money on the line there.
It's finding the correct plot. So make sure you have a plot which is urbanizable. So each area, so Tenerife would have its own rules as to what size the wall has to be around. They call it the altura media. So you have 1.8 meters for your wall, and your house has to be X amount of meters from that wall, and you can only construct X amount of meters on your plot. So, but if you're looking at land in the middle of nowhere and it says rustic, well, just run away screaming, because you're never going to be able to build anything on it. Whereas if you've got plots which are specifically designated for building, which there are loads in Spain, there is a lot. Then I don't know about Tenerife, but then look for specific plots of land. The only thing about that is generally people do it to try and be isolated slightly, and these plots of land generally tend to be next to each other.
There we go. Beverly's saying, Damien, presumably your husband, partner, is such a drama queen. He had a cold but insisted it was bird flu. Of course. So a bit of a chicken then. Hey! And Kev the Argonaut says, it's not hair up your nose. We know it's Colombian marching powder. You rock and rollers are all the same. No, those days are long gone, Kev. Jed says, sorry for being late. Just slipped on the decking. All okay. Whew. Phew. And Steffi said, a digital nomad visa and health. If you're on the digital nomad visa, can you simply get a private health policy instead of paying social security? You can always get a private health policy. Or is it compulsory to pay social security like in the UK? I think it is on a DNV, isn't it? Because
doesn't it depend on the platform you're coming on? So if you're self-employed, you have to have you'd get it automatically. But if you're being employed from a company abroad, you need the private healthcare to cover you, because you have to prove you're covered here. So I think that depends. You can, as you quite rightly said, you can always get private healthcare. Yeah, so anybody can have it. In fact, it's big with Spanish. Spanish love private healthcare. They have social and private, and combine the two an awful lot. But depending on the platform you're on, if you're self-employed or then you would coming on the self-employed as a DMV, then you get it anyway, because you'd have to register as autonomous, I believe.
Great stuff. Beverly's saying, when we move to Fuerteventura, Damien will be looking for work. Will we need private medical insurance to get residency? Yes. He'll be doing bar work, so hopefully we'll get a job fairly quickly.
I think that's the EU passport. question, and the answer is there's three things that you have to demonstrate when you go to your EU appointment to get residency, and they are that you've got healthcare, you've got money, and you've got somewhere to live, right? So if you to somewhere to live is your padron certificate, which loads of videos on your channel about that, and money and healthcare. If you've got a contract, okay, the money and healthcare is generally covered by the contract as long as it meets the minimum required income. And if you haven't got a contract, you need private healthcare and to prove you've got income from another source or savings.
Great. Hope that answers your question, Beverly. If not, carry on chatting. Jed says NHS junior doctors have gone on a 5-day strike in the UK. Yeah, lots of strikes going on at the moment, aren't they? Yeah, not surprised. They're all treated badly and never paid enough. Just give them a hand clap. That seems to be all that the government are giving them. I'm being ironic there, by the way. Barry from Unitech says, apologies for arriving late. I'll slap your wrist, Barry. He says, it's terminal man flu. Of course it is. Bless you. Hope you get better soon. There was one other Facebook thing. We're going to get onto some of the standard topics in a minute. We've not even touched that yet. But this question is from Karen Masters Brotherton. How do you get healthcare aged 18 and not working? So that's a tricky one. Not quite. We don't quite know your situation there.
Yes, there could be. So if you're, the first thing is if you're 18, you're not working, and you're legally living in Spain, and your parents have access to the social security because they're working self-employed or something, then you could apply as a beneficiary still at 18 if you live in the same household. So that might be a way, or get a job, or you register as self-employed, or you get a private healthcare policy.
Okay. Yeah, I think that answers that one. And okay, so let's talk about some of these topics. We talked a little bit state or private healthcare. Anything else we want to say about that?
We're going to talk about just quick review on the old S1, I think, what we were going to say about the...
Oh, yeah, let's fill in the rest of the details on the S1.
Yeah, just with the S1, I mean, relating to the NLB, for example, which is a lot of people watch the channel are coming on that platform. We know it's accepted now, but you do have to take your pre-registration document with you. Okay, so basically, this is a farcical registration with the Social Security, which you do online, or someone can do it for you, like we do for our clients. Where you submit the documents to the Social Security, they'll give you a digital document to say, "Yay, we've received your application," and you take that to the consulate with you. But the Social Security then always reject it because you don't have residency.
Yeah.
Right. So the consulate see you've started the process. The Social Security, when they bothered to open the file, turn around and go, "You haven't given us the complete documentation," which means when you get to Spain, you have to go through it again. Right. But that gets you through your initial appointment at the NLV. And two things to remember, very important when you do get your S1. If you have a beneficiary, so a spouse who is riding off the back of your S1, that they are two separate certificates that I mentioned before. Yeah, so you have to have your certificate, and then there's a separate one which shows the beneficiary on the back. And the good news is at the moment is they seem to be they post them out to you. They'll either post them to the UK or Spain, but they are sending them via email as well, which is great. And for EU applicants, there's no need to pre-register it. You need to go with your S1, get your residency, and then use that residency to register your S1.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else people need to know? I mean, you can do whole programs about this, and you've done videos.
I've just recently done one, actually. It's one of our more popular ones. It's got over 300 views, which is like the limit for me, really.
Yeah, excellent. So if you need to know more about the S1, go to that video. Yeah. Or to one of the previous health ones that we've done together on this channel. So, and I think you've got something on your website as well, haven't you? Have you got an article about it?
Yeah, we've got a few, and we've recently got one, video coming up as well with the S1, which I've done, which I haven't published yet. Just reminding people sometimes the best way to get one is by calling. There's a number you phone. sometimes you get someone at the end of the phone just isn't catching your drift, getting your vibe.
Uh-huh.
And the best thing to do is politely put the phone down, say bye, and then phone again and get someone else who knows what you're talking about. Because sometimes it's a very busy call center. I'm not too sure they direct the calls. And if you find you're not getting anywhere, we've had people who are like, I don't really know why I'm not getting anywhere with this person. Put the phone down, call up, and someone's gone, oh, you need next one to go to Spain. Yeah, tell me this. And then they've got it. So you have to do that as well. Be aware.
Sounds like my experience of working in a call center, because you know, somebody who's just arrived, there's a high turnover of staff in most call centers.
Right.
And you know, there's a very high chance of you getting somebody who's not got very much experience, and it takes sometimes a couple of years to know all of the things that you can possibly do, and all of the ins and outs of the business that you're in. So yeah, I used to get calls quite a lot from people who were saying, I spoke to someone last week and I didn't have a clue what they were on about, and I said, yeah, fair enough, but you're through to me now and I know everything. So that always made them laugh.
Maybe flip chart there.
Yeah. So let's see. Jed Tierney's saying, I think as people get old, they become more and more attached to the UK health service, making that leap to Spain more and more difficult. It is true. You get used to certain systems, and it can be daunting.
Yeah. I think as we get older, any change, I would hate my change. I don't see them that much, but.
And Robbo says, can you join the Spanish healthcare system for year 2 to 3 of visa application, and what is the process?
Well, that's it. So this is a lot of people talking about the Convenio Especial and actually paying into the system, but you need to be here for 12 months to be able to do so. Then you have to apply, and then they have to approve it. So what normally happens is that falls in line with your renewal, and we have to submit the renewal, and it will be a big risk to not take on your second year's healthcare until you had the Convenio Especial in place. So normally that means that you would have to actually take your second year's healthcare once you've been here for 12 months and you've got your renewal in your hand, then apply for the Convenio Especial. And then at the end of that year, if you get granted the Convenio Especial, be wary of the time you have to give your insurance company to cancel the policy, because if you do it after their contracted time, they give you a terms and conditions. They say if you're going to not renew it, you have to tell us within 60 days. Something like that, or 30 days, some companies, then you can get rid of it. But always get your Convenio Especial in place before, because you have to have continuous healthcare. That normally means having 2 years.
So it might be good to go 6 months before the year 3 is needed. Apply for the Convenio.
You've got your year 2 in place, you've got your insurance in place, you can start the process then. But you just got to make sure that it's all in place before you get rid of your private healthcare.
Yeah, but if you start it too early, you're going to start paying monthly for that, and you'll be paying monthly for your private plan as well. So you can't leave it too close, because, like you said, you might have the same problem at not having it at the beginning of year 3 and having to pay for a whole year's worth of private again.
Yeah, so if you're looking at, say, a 3 month turnaround for the approval, which is that's an estimate, it could be anything. Then whatever happens, you are going to be looking at maybe paying double at some point. We had a question as well recently about someone said, can I go into monthly payments and then just cancel it when it comes on board? Don't forget, when you pay for monthly payments, you're still paying for a year's contract.
Yeah, so you might be punished financially if you stop it part the way through the year.
Yeah.
Yes. Barry has a question. The earlier example of the 18-year-old with no private health care, no job, and not having parents with private that they can piggyback onto, would the 18-year-old get no help?
If they've got no parents that they could use?
If their parents didn't have private, well, the parents would presumably have private healthcare. If they're not living with their parents.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. Depending on if that 18-year-old. That's a very broad question. Is that 18-year-old a permanent residency? Have they just landed? Have they got a Spanish passport? That really depends on the individual circumstance. But certainly, if they've been here as a permanent resident and they've
let's do that.
they could go to Social Security, but that really depends if they're on a student. Are they a student as well? Students different for students, so there's no black and white answer to that.
Yeah. Okay. Steffi says, is the S1 only if you're on the non-lucrative visa, or can you get it on others?
You can use the S1 for any residency platform.
Great stuff. Right. We've done the S1 then. We've done it. One of the things I've noticed actually, and I don't know if this is a negative, some people find this a positive, and it's the only thing that some people call it a negative in terms of the private, no, not the private, the public healthcare, the state healthcare that I'm on, is that the staff are more blunt and straightforward. I think that's the right words. They're very direct, I think is a much better word for it, than you would expect in the UK, for example. And some people find that a bit off-putting, and but I think it's quite good, because the appointment that Chris, that you were there to translate for me at the with the doctor, when they said you've got cancer, they didn't beat around the bush. They said, right, this is the lesion, this is the tumour, it's cancer, it's blah blah blah, and they didn't go, right, please sit down, we've got some bad news. They didn't, which is what you'd expect in England. You'd expect some kind of bedside manner, but
no, they are quite they're quite abrupt. They're so abrupt, but I think they're just getting the job done. I mean, we had recently, Isla, my daughter, got a sprain, got an ankle, really terrible sprain, and we took her to emergencies, and it was 45 minutes. I've never seen, it's like an operation. Now they're very, very good with kids here. We've had, fortunately, my son had pneumonia when he was 2, and it was picked up by a junior doctor. He had 2 consultants. They went in, they didn't like it. They went, hang on a minute. And this lady came in and went, just send him for a scan quickly, because I don't like it. No fever. He didn't have a fever. Just didn't like the sound. Sent him for a scan. Turned out a very small pocket of it wasn't viral, it was infectious, and within 10 minutes, literally, they'd taken Lara, told her she's staying for 5 days. They went, come out, this lady just pointed at me, went, right, you need to go home, you need to do this, you need to do that, you're not going to see, the kids are going up to and they literally just sent them up to the planter, they call it, the floor, told me to go and get all this stuff, and said, your wife's going to be staying here for 4 days because she decided she wants to be, we need somebody. And I was like, okay, right, yeah, I'm going to do as I'm told. And I ran off, got everything she told me to, did the piece of paper at the desk, and within an hour I came back, and he was on the ward, hooked up to antibiotics, and that was him cured in 5 days. But again, the same with my daughter. I was saying, when she went in, they went consultant, scan, back to consultant. It's not a break. It's a very bad sprain. She needs a month in plaster, into the plaster room and out. Yeah. 45 minutes. I was like, wow. It was incredible.
Yeah. So, and my only experience of the emergency ward here was, I think I've described it on a previous program, certainly on my video diary. Went in, gave the piece of paper onto the person at the desk. She pointed me to the emergency department, and I was passing the triage door when somebody called my name. I hadn't even sat down, and then that took just a few minutes. She said, go and sit down, and she gave me a piece of paper with you get like a code, which is a few letters and numbers, and then there's a board like you get at Argos, and they ping you through and tell you which room you need to go to, and all of the rooms are really close to each other, so you don't have to go to the next city like you do in the NHS. You seem to have to walk all the way down to the other end of the hospital and across the road into another building to get to the X-ray department. And but no, they've got an X-ray machine there in the emergency department. So very direct, very quick, and you know what you're doing. Yeah, we were out in 45 minutes there.
And they seem to, when we had my daughter, Isla, when second child, and we were out of the hospital in 24 hours because the what they call them, the matron, not matron. In English.
Staff nurse. I don't know what they call them these days. I think they still have matrons, yeah.
Making sure the child's okay. He came round, saw us, and just asked a few questions, saw Lara, said baby's absolutely fine, and came and saw us and said, "Is this your second child?" And we were like, "Yeah, it's all good." And they were like, "Oh, are you comfortable?" This, that, and they just, Lara said, "Look, I'll be honest with you. If I stay now, they've got to sign you off. You've got to stay at night, and then you'll be discharged the following day at 10 o'clock." She was like, "I feel like I could go home because everybody's fine. I'm fine. Is that okay?" And she took one look at it and just went, "Yeah, you're okay. You're old enough to get yourselves off. You know what you're doing as parents." And that was it. We were off. So the bed was for someone else that they needed. So it was good.
Brilliant. Mike is saying, Mike Ripper, hello Mike. To be fair, when my mother was diagnosed with MND in the UK, the consultant was very blunt. There you go. Sometimes you do. And I suppose when you get to the consultant level, I'm going for my the oncologist, the big specialist, the one who knows exactly what he's talking about, on Monday. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping they're very blunt as well. So the funny thing is, the first time we went in, when it was the colonoscopy, and the doctor gave us the report afterwards and spoke to us then, that was the point when we were upset. And even then we didn't know what it was, because we had to go for because I knew there was loads of tests coming up. And even though we didn't know whether it was cancer or not, that was like, the emotion that we felt then was more like what you'd expect when people, you see people on TV, when they get the news that it is cancer. That's the sort of, and we had that response then. But the next one, when they confirmed it after the tests, we were very much more straightforward because they were. And, I didn't cry at all then, because I'd already been thinking for a whole week, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure of what level it is as well, and what we might have to expect. So it was just kind of confirmation of the news. Yeah. So by that point, we were both, yes, at least we know what we're facing now. So, yeah, I think that, so it rubs off on you, I think that.
Yeah, let's see Monday.
Yes, roll on Monday. More good news. Yeah, at least we'll have a plan in place then, and that's even better when you can see. It's like when I always used to say, I go to the dentist, if they say this is going to hurt, then I don't like that. But if they say this is going to hurt for the next 5 minutes, I go, okay, I know what I'm facing now.
Yeah.
Rather than this is going to hurt for the rest of your life. It just feels like if they don't put a limit on it, then don't like it. So yeah. Jed says, what's the cost of prescriptions in Spain? I'm on 7 different types of medication, but as I'm over 60, they're free in the UK. So I know they're not free here.
Subsidised. Yeah.
Subsidised, and there's a cap, I think, on a monthly cap.
Yes, they have a cap. Subsidised, you pay a percentage of the medicine, but there is a cap. If you're retiring or something. So people like, for example, who've got diabetes, where the medicine can run into the thousands a month, sometimes don't have to pay a percentage of those thousands. So I'm not too sure what the cap is, actually. I should ask Antonio that. But it's definitely capped. And I believe that the cap relates to your income. So how they do that on the first year, I'm not too sure. They must have a general cap. But...
Yeah, and I think the cap is fairly low. I remember when we were in Ireland, the lovely man who's no longer with us was said, I'm paying like €295 for my medication every month. And that's like heart medication that he was on. I said, that's unbelievable that you're having to pay that much for this, and if you're paying into a policy as well every month, and you still have to pay this amount, but it's nowhere near that in Spain, I'm fairly sure. There we go. I think what we should do, actually, I'm going to just tell you about the GoFundMe page, because I've not mentioned it yet. We're nearly an hour into the show. We're not even halfway through. Yesterday on the video diary, I told you all about the GoFundMe page right at the end of it. It's our very, very lovely friend Amanda, who I talked about on one of the videos. She's already given me a lift down. I think it was for the CT scan. And she set it up to help me and Liz through my cancer treatment. Some of the work I do, it won't be able to happen while the treatment's going on. And I've no idea how much or for how long at the moment. So it's really wonderful that someone's stepping in to help. So thank you so much, Amanda. As I say, I mentioned it on the video diary last night, and there's already a few people have been kind enough to donate. And the total is, or was, 100 before this program started. So today's QR code, normally it goes to buymeacoffee.com, but this QR code, as you can see, it says GoFundMe underneath it. I've sent it to that link. And if you go to the top of the live chat, I think, which is over on that side of the screen, I've put the link there. I've put it in the video description below, and it may be at the top of the comments as well, but if it isn't already, when the show finishes, I'll put it there as well. So you've got loads of places to find that. And I have no pride in promoting it. No, I'm proud of Amanda for doing it, but you know how they say, I've got no pride. I'm fine asking for money because I don't want to leave this wonderful country, and I don't want to be a burden on the state during this time. So if you'd like to donate, that would be wonderful. And there's loads of places that you can find to do that. We've got more questions on the live chat, and we've got lots of other different little subjects that we're going to cover, but let's take just a short break to find out what other services you've got with YouTooSpain. And it does say on there that you can use this as buymeacoffee.com, but of course you can't do that today, but there's a way of donating anyway. I'll let them explain it. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Here we go. This show is very helpful to you, isn't it? And you're enjoying it too. Then click on the thumbs up, you lazy colonel. I don't have any thumbs. You can use your nose, Doogie. And don't forget to subscribe as well. And rub on the bell for notifications while you're there. It's all free. Information is valuable. I need a coffee to keep my pecker up. So why not show your appreciation by buying us a coffee or 3? There's a link in the video description below. No! Use the QR code. I own the company, you know. No, you don't, Colonel. It's there for the whole show, sweetie. Just point your camera phone at it. But wait! If you think all the help and information and entertainment you get here is worth more than just a few coffees, you can support YouTooSpain with a regular monthly amount. You're not getting my money! You don't have any, Colonel. You live in a hostel. There's a link to Patreon, where you can find out what extra groovy movies you get by helping out. Oh, I'm all a quiver. One more thing. Get on with it. There's a guest waiting. Goodness knows why. The beautiful watchers are waiting too. And the ugly ones. That's enough, Colonel. There are lots of vital things that YouTooSpain gets you access to. And discounts too. What things, Master? I like things. Well, do you need private healthcare insurance? Of course I do. This gout won't go away on its own, you know. Do you need a visa or residency, sweetie? Do you need to exchange currency? What about finding a property like mine? It's huge and expensive. Just like me, darling. Bah! Or do you need advice on tax and pensions? I don't know what they are. Or do you want a Spanish mortgage? Or a discount on getting documents translated and apostilled? Or a lawyer to sort you out? I didn't do it, wasn't me. Do you need a lovely little app for learning Spanish? How about finding the best mobile phone provider? Buy a YouTooSpain t-shirt. It's a win-win-win. You can even get discounts on full mouth dental treatment and get a new smile just like Skatz. Smile! All of the links are here, down below, sweetie. If you can't find them, ask me in the comments. Are you finished yet? I need to go and kick some servants. He's not a very nice human. No, he's not. But let's get back to the show, shall we? Back to Skatz in the studio. That was my line. Oh, stop being beastly and be a good little boy. I am a good boy. You are, Doogie. Back to you, Skatz. Wonderful. Thank you, Skatz, Walter, Dick, Colonel and Doogie Dog for joining us. If you have any questions for them, you can just ask me. I think you know it's me, don't you? They all look a lot like me anyway. So here we go. back to the live chat. Somebody's just scanned the QR code.
Brilliant.
Good on you. And let's go to the live chat. Oh, Sean, expat in Matheron, says good morning to you both. Hand pink waving, it says on my thing there. That's brilliant. I love how it translates the emojis into words. We should do, everybody put an emoji down there and see what happens, see what it comes up with. Go for some of the more complicated ones and see what it says. That could be fun. Let's see, John the Joiner. Says, is it possible to retire in the UK with state pension, then move to Spain, get an NLV and S1 without the need for a period of private health care cover? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, we forget, don't we, what's passed before? You remember when the S1 wasn't allowed, or they decided it was and it wasn't, and then people were going to the consulate with S1s and they were saying, no, you need it pre-registered, and they're like, well, what's this? They didn't even have a link to do it. And
it was like the Convenio Especial. You needed a certain period to get it, and it was just like you were caught in a loop, weren't you?
That's why that's why the GoFundMe's there, because of all this that you've been through before. This is the pioneers, and all these clients have been through us, and people watching the show. They've been through. Now the S1s, like, they get their BLS officer like, yes, okay, another tick in the box. It's not always been like that, and the show, your shows, has shown that. There's a history there.
Yeah. Steffi says, I thought this said following God's question, but it's Jed. So maybe he is God. I don't know. How much are prescriptions if you're not retired and or if you have private health cover? I think there's still a cap on something.
There's still a cap. That's a good question, because if you're not on S1, then you don't get as much as a discount. So you actually, a lot of your things you'll be paying for. Depends on your private healthcare provider as well, first of all. So you need to talk to them to see what they do give you within that private healthcare. It's like that private healthcare, but you don't get the initial discount on a lot of the medicine, believe it or not. So there is caps on what you need to, what you have to spend, but you could be more expensive with private healthcare. The short answer is we don't know, because it depends on the healthcare that you're going to get. Yes,
and it depends.
But there is things like, and we know, and this is quite a tricky subject to bring up. So people who have got pre-existing conditions, when you're getting an NLV, that you can't have any exclusions on your healthcare, right? So it's a case of how are those conditions treated within your private healthcare, and that's where you need to get, the difference between state and private. You need to get into your private healthcare to find out. We do know this is, that healthcare policies are positioned in a way to get an NLV, which might conveniently have exclusions somewhere in the policy, correctly positioned. So things like diabetes and stuff, you have to be really aware that if you've managed to get a policy which qualifies for an NLV, but you've had that excluded, that you won't be treated for that if there's a problem. So you do have to be aware of private healthcare is a very personal negotiation, should we say, other than state, which is like, I've got a bit of discount, there's your drugs.
And if you're looking for private healthcare policy, we've got some. Have a look in the video description below. There's at least one person who can provide that very well and talk you through. Sam is one of them, Sam Campbell. We know her very well. And Maria Pie says, good luck with your health. You got this. Thank you. Yeah, we got this. Beverly's put an emoji up and it says, thanks, Doc. Yeah, excellent. And Ant's obviously looking for some for the complete package here. Face, fuchsia, tongue out, hand orange covering eyes, body green covering eyes. Very good. That looks like 3 separate ones, isn't it? And Mad David says, good morning, chaps. Hope you're both well. Yeah, feeling well, I was going to say 100%, but more like 80%, I think, at the moment. I have to be honest about that. So we've talked about healthcare cover, state or private. We've talked about the quality of care you get here. Well, certainly the speed of the service, but it seems like quality of care is pretty good as well too, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. I mean, again, it's like I say, I got for my I don't mind saying it on YouTube, for my vasectomy, I got referred to private.
Yeah.
So private, to be honest with you, Kieran, I'd have been really annoyed that day because there was a huge queue of all social security men. All stood down like, you hear the same? Yeah, so they're all, and we all got sent in at the same time. It was post-COVID, so it might not happen now. But when I went in, and very happily married, and 2 lovely, beautiful kids, and we're like, 42, that's it now. Went in, booked it. They went, it's going to be 3 years because there's a waiting list and COVID.
Wow.
3 years, okay then. Well, there we go. And then after 3 months, I got this call from Kieran here in Benalmádena, and I was like, no, I think you must have the wrong person. I don't have private. They're like, oh no, you've been sent from the Social Security. And it was done on the private.
Yeah. But did you have to pay for it, or did they?
No, I didn't. I just went in the only thing I had to do every single time, and I had to go 4 times, including the operation, was fill out exactly the same piece of paper. And after the second time, I went, can I take a photo of this? Because then, or I could just print it and give it back to you next time. They're like, no, you have to fill it out when you get here. So that was a bit strange, but no, it was proper private treatment, and the half an hour with the consultant who did me this wonderful drawing of which I still have somewhere of how it was all going to work and stuff. And this is where the cars go, and this is where, I was going.
Brilliant.
So, and
did they use a cutting device or a burning device?
It was cutting. Because he said it's irreversible. I said, I've heard that there can be mistakes in this, that, and the other. And my consultant went, not with you. There's no mistake. He said, in this one, there's going to be no mistake. It was going, and when you read the thing, it says what you got, the report, I think they called it. Then it says that they took 1.5 centimeters from each side. So it's just not going to be any mistakes on you. It's not.
So they didn't just tie a knot in it.
No. It's like, definitely 100%. You're never having. I was like, okay, you sure it's not reversible? I said, because he said to me, what I do to you is not reversible. So just so you know that. And I went, that's real good.
Fair enough. Yeah, you do have to sign a document, don't you? I had mine done I think it was in Ireland.
Yeah.
And it might have been in the UK. No, I think it was in the UK. And he used the laser. And Liz came in with me, because she was fascinated. So there was me with my legs up and and my bollocks taped up like that. So yeah, must have been a fantastic experience for her too.
Well, I got gas and air.
Did you?
I didn't believe it. I was gas. I'd never. They suddenly went, and I was like, because I'm quite claustrophobic. So when they put the mask on, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. Can't you just inject something? And after about 3 seconds, I'm like, wow, this is good. They didn't.
I don't know if they injected me. I think they gave me a quick injection, but they said you won't feel it, but I could see the smoke coming off it and I could smell it. So that was a bit unpleasant, but no, I was kind of expecting it, and it took a matter of seconds, but I'm sure that's irreversible as well, because he'll have done 2 burns, and of course it cauterizes the thing, so it's very, very safe. There's no stitches needed, no nothing.
I know I definitely had stitches, but I was drunk when I left because. Honestly, all over the place. I can remember because there was Glenn, my friend, was waiting for me. So I get really moody. So I was like, "Oh, Lara, you don't come because I'm going to be in a big mood." Because men flu and that kind of thing, So you stay at home. And my mate Glenn came to pick me up. Bless, he's always helped me with those things. And when I walked out, he said, "You walked out," and he said, "What do you want to do now?" Because I hadn't eaten. He said, "Oh, I fancy going for a kebab and a pint." I never fancied kebab. He said, "You must have been drunk." So that's what we did, actually. but yeah, it was crazy. The gas and air, I was all over the place with it.
It's brilliant. I love it. I've not had it since I had, dental treatment years and years ago. But yeah. Oh, John the Joiner's put up some emojis, and they've come up as emojis. How come it happens for some people and not with others? Can anybody answer that? Have we got any technicians in the house? Jez says, Chris, I had my procedure done and I went back to manual work 2 days later. Big mistake. Mistake.
I work at a desk. And I was struggling, sat on ice for for 2 days. So that was, now talk about man flu. Now that was the worst thing that about a week after that, I was still complaining.
Yes. Ant says, gas and air, you weren't in quick fit, were you? Face blue, wide eyes. Excellent. And Mad David says, 2 Valium the night before and 4 on the morning of the vasectomy operation. Can't remember a thing. Perfecto.
I can tell you about Valium though. We had a car accident. That's a long time ago. One New Year's Eve, believe it or not. And we were driving home. And me and Lara, and this guy drunk ran into the back of us. So it was a big hoo-ha, and we ended up in the hospital emergencies with the braces thing, because we had to go to the court the next day because it was emergency court and everything, because he ran into us. But then when we went to the hospital, they gave me Valium. Just to relax you a little bit, and I must be a bit hypersensitive to that because they gave me another one to take home. But it was like they're quite loose with the Valium. Oh, have another one. I'm like, no more. No,
a little bag of them to take home. Just
dear me, I was I didn't have any more after that. It was paracetamol and that was it, because it was a bit wobbly, I tell you.
Yeah,
this crazy stuff.
There you go. And Beverly says, Ant says, it seems to be the emojis with words on the Upsticks thing, but no, Steffi's has got it. She's not on the paired, and hers says glasses, purple, yellow, diamond. Nice. That must be the one with the sunglasses, is it? Yeah. Beverly says, I've read that the Spanish tend to look after their elderly at home. Are there facilities available if you don't have family and are no longer able to live alone? I think there are, but I've tried to look them up and I can't find them.
Yeah, there are. There are state-run facilities for people who obviously qualify. So you couldn't just move here and qualify straight away, unfortunately. But there are state-run facilities for people who qualify. There's also private options. For people who go into the house, for example, like Abby Care, who's in our networking group.
Oh yes,
Karen. So we'll give her a shout. But on that comment of looking after the elderly at home, the Spanish generally tend to look after their own if possible at home. So we've got really good friends of ours whose mother has Alzheimer's, and there's 4 brothers, I think, and a sister. I can't remember how many there is in the family, but they just do turns between them. And generally, as and when they can, they wouldn't put them in a home. They would always make sure that they were looked after, either in their own home by taking turns or keeping them at home with somebody.
I have heard as well, talking about slightly different, but aftercare. So after you've had some kind of operation, or if you've had an accident, that kind of thing, some people have said the aftercare here is different. You have to actually ask for it. Whereas in the NHS in the UK, for example, they'll tell you about any physiotherapy you might need to do. They'll book you in for an appointment, whereas that doesn't happen here. So I'm told you have to actually actively search for it. The facilities are there, and they have the staff, but you have to ask.
Same when you have a child, so you don't have the midwife visit. You have to. They've changed it again. They've updated it. When we had Raoul initially, like after 3 days of getting home, Lara had to traipse down to the Social Security to register and stuff. It's like crazy, But a lot of that now has been brought online. But you have to be active, So for the blood tests and everything like that. I don't know about elderly because I've never had that experience, but I know with a child you don't sit there and get a midwife visit. You have to be actively go out and do what you need to do medically, and also when someone gets hospitalized, it's very, very important to understand they expect somebody to be with that person all the time. So that that happened when Lara had the procedure, and we thought it was only going to be a day, and she ended up spending 4 or 5 days in hospital. And so very good. They ambulanced her. It wasn't like an emergency. They're like, we can't keep you here. You've got to go. Follow the ambulance. I'm like 130 down the road, miles an hour. It was like crazy. And when we got there, they were like, right, you can't move now. You've got to stay. I'm like, it's the kids. And so you've got to really plan it quite well, because they expect someone to be there and staying overnight as well.
It would have been handy to know in advance if you're getting in the car, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realise that we organised it, but it was if we are expecting hospitals today.
Yeah, sorry, your audio signal disappeared slightly for a minute there. It was a bit wobbly, but it's all right. It's back now. And Kev the Argonaut saying, I've been waiting for a procedure in the UK for 5 years. 2 days before I was on the boat to Spain, I got a call to be at the hospital 5 days later. Mañana. Yes. And he also says, spent a few years looking after my mum. Today's the first anniversary of her death. Oh, bless. We'll have a quiet moment at the exact time today. Be thinking of you, Kev. And Jed says, Skatz, do they do the poo stick test, which is rolled out to people of a certain age in the UK? Well, I had to give a sample, certainly, but I'd already gone in and said, I've got a problem down there, so I don't know. Is that something they do as a regular thing, Chris? Maybe it's after a certain age.
Don't know. I went for an MOT recently. I asked about things that I should be doing. I should be sticking fingers in various places and stuff like that. But they did a full analysis of not of poo. They did urine and blood, and then when the samples came back, the doctor went, no, there's all the indicators would be on there if there's a problem, so you're all right. So
interestingly enough, they did as part of my blood test, they asked for cancer markers and it didn't show any. That was back in that was August, September last year. It didn't show any. I'd be interested to know what my most recent blood tests show, because if it's not showing cancer markers, then that's really weird, because it should be by now.
Because I don't know, I don't understand a lot about it. I know that the what I've had with the experience with some clients and stuff is the PSI, but that's prostate, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Marker. So they've had it before with people that have had regular blood checks, and they check for the PSI, I think it is, and there's a certain marker on there, and then I've been with that person and it turns out that it was prostate cancer. So I know that's a marker, but maybe I don't know if they have different ones. I don't know.
Yeah, we can ask. We'll ask on Monday. Well, apparently my prostate is slightly enlarged, but it's not cancerous, so that's handy to know. Mad David says, aftercare in the UK you can't even get before care now. Yeah, it's getting a bit bad over there. Rob says, morning guys, me and my family are moving over in July on my Irish passport. What's the procedure for getting on the Spanish healthcare system?
Well, so it's contributionary based. So if you've got an Irish passport, depends what your activity is going to be. So if you're just working, if you're living off of savings, or then you probably have to get private healthcare because you won't qualify for state. If you've got a job or self-employed, you'd qualify for state healthcare, and your family would as well. Apply for your family after that. Or if you're working abroad for a company who are going to pay into the social security system here in Spain, that's another option as well. But it is not NHS. You don't automatically get it. You have to prove that you're making contributions to it one way or another. There
we go. Jed says it's a screening for bowel cancer aged 56 to 74. I remember in Ireland there was lots of screenings and lots of, you could get the flu jab, and now there's the COVID jab as well. So they were very good on pre-care, and screenings. And Liz didn't ask for the usual female screenings, so the mammogram and the scraping, whatever that's called. We call it the scraping.
Technical term.
Yeah. And Ant says, PSI, you're back in QuickFit. He says, you mean PSA?
Oh, PSA, that's it. Yeah, so PSI is the pressure, quickie.
Yeah. Per square inch, that means, yeah.
Can we get a disclaimer that we are not medical professionals?
Yeah. Or or specialists in blowing up tyres either, for that matter. And Beverly says, PSI.
What you say about the women side of things, again, not something that I wholly say that I fully understand, but I do know through Lara that they do start their mammograms and screening quite early here. The regular checkups are really, really good. It's very preventative, I think, here for women rather than reactive medicine. And I know that Lara, when she talks to her friends, they can't believe the amount of checkups and stuff that she's had, even since like the age of 19. When we first met and we got together and Lara came and registered, the first thing they did was like a full checkup, and Lara couldn't believe it. Like, they don't do that till I'm 30 in the UK. I don't know if that's still the case, but that was, you know, all those years ago. It was, and it's been the same ever since, always regular checkups.
Very good. Maria says, sorry to keep asking questions. That's what the live chat's for, Maria. Thank you for all of your questions, and carry on asking them. If you have to have someone, with you in hospital, would it be a problem? As I'm in my late 50s, I'm a widow. Now, my experience recently has been in terms of being able to speak Spanish, I think. Is that what you're asking? Or just being able to have somebody with you? Certainly, that I've found in different places, they ask you to have somebody with you who can speak Spanish if you don't speak it very well. So in that case, that seems to suggest, yes, they're fine with it. I guess it's going to depend on what you're there for. You can't take somebody into the X-ray room with you, obviously, because that's dangerous. But what's your experience, Chris?
Yeah, no, and if you, my experience is that they are happy for translators to come in. Now, I've been on many translation jaunts, learned an awful lot, still learning with you.
Yeah.
And in terms of long stays, then definitely, yeah, they expect somebody to be there really to help you, so you have support. So things like, I mean, they don't come and sit and feed you your dinner or anything. They go, there's your dinner, and then you'd have to bring your tray over yourself. So, you know, if you need water, you know, you'd have to go and get a bottle for someone. So, yeah, they do. It's completely different to the small experience I've had in the UK. Whereas in the UK, these strict visiting hours, and then you have to off it. Where here, it's as long as you've got your, I should put mine that I saved from Lars. You get a visitor's pass. So they're like, who is your visitor? And you get two. So you can combine, and you can get different members of the family and order more, and you get a pass, and you walk in, and then you go up and you're allowed in because you've got your pass, and that's 24/7.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. There you go. So Maria, yeah, make sure that the person with you can speak Spanish. That is very, very, very handy. Some of the doctors that I've spoken to have much better English than other ones. They've all got some kind of English, and even on my colonoscopy, one of the nurses, he was a younger bloke, his English was really, really good. So he was translating for the doctor, who I could already understand. But yeah, and our doctor in the local health centre here, they can usually speak a bit of English. I live in a place where 50% of the population are Spanish, and the rest of them are from Northern Europe, and the predominant language is English. That even if it's a second language for Germans and Scandinavians, etc., they can all speak a bit of English too. So it's handy for them all to know it, and they learn it from an early age, don't they? They learn English as well, don't they, Chris?
Well, plus obviously now for most professional qualifications, English is a requirement. So. That's why you'll see probably the older generation don't speak as much English, but the younger doctors and stuff coming up do, because they're required to speak English at a level, I don't know what level it is, it's C1 or C2, whatever it is, to actually get that qualification and pass that test. And I've had that through friends of mine who have got kids and stuff like that, and the more and more English and the qualifications is becoming part of that process. So the younger doctors are always going to have it, so it's good. If they want to use it, they're not obliged to use it. But.
No, and C1 is pretty good. That's really, it's I'm still in B somewhere. C is where you can have a conversation, really. I'm starting to get there now.
What's that, in English or Spanish?
Yeah, I've only just reached A1 in English.
I'm from Peterborough. I'm still struggling with this too.
Yeah, they don't. It's a whole different planet in Peterborough. Kev, hello Kev. Jan just went for a breast scan. They say they're normal. They really haven't got a clue. I can tell just by looking at them that Jan's bits are fantastic. Thank you, Kev. That's cheered me up. Maria says, well, in good health still at the moment, but bad at Spanish. Yeah, it's always best. Go for as much Spanish as you can. Go for the lessons. It's definitely going to come in useful. And I went for a flamenco guitar lesson yesterday. My first one. I got a voucher for 4 for Christmas from Liz, and it says in his notes on his website that he can speak English, but he spoke mostly in Spanish, which I was quite grateful for, because a lot of the terminology is different in Spanish to English, the music terminology. So I'm kind of grateful for that, because I want to be part of the culture of that and be able to understand people who can actually play flamenco guitar as well, because it's mostly all Spanish people, and older Spanish people as well around here are the ones who play the guitar. So I want to be able to communicate with them.
We're going to have at the end of it every cancer terminology and guitar flamenco terminology.
Yeah, all of the music stuff.
You learn from your experiences. So like when we got our house in Lock and we were doing work on it, I didn't know anything to do with building. Now I could tell you anything. And that came out quite handy at the hospital when I understood that they were going to put plaster on it, because it's the same as when you're plastering a wall. It sounds crazy, but all these things do come back into your life when you learn in certain situations.
Yeah, I need to buy a new notebook, because the notebook I've got, because you said carry a notebook and write down all of the things that are relevant to you, and I bought one, but it's too big, so I can't carry it around. It doesn't fit in my pocket.
I'll bring you one of ours. We've got our ones.
Cool. There we go then.
I'll bring you one on Monday.
Brilliant. Sorted. So then I can transpose everything into there. Yeah, it's too big. I've got it up there, and it's been sitting there for ages, and I was writing it in it, and it's too complicated to look through. I need to narrow down the search, but I think it was good. It was useful making that one, so I know how not to do it, so that I can look through it and find the stuff very easy on there. We've got so much. We've gone to, it's like an hour and a half at the moment, and we've still got so much we could talk about. It might be worth us doing another one of these shows. Yeah, at some point, because you've all got lots of questions. Mad David says, off topic. You keep asking this question every few weeks, don't you, David? Is there any news on extending the 90-day rule, or do you think it will never happen? I would say never is something I never say, but I don't think it's going to happen very quickly, because actually extending the 9180 Schengen rule is something that all, I think it's 27 countries at the moment, but there's a few joining recently, Romania and people like that. So I think there's more countries now. I think it's nearly 32, 33 or something like that. And they've all got to agree. It's all got to go through all of their parliaments and agree, and the whole EU. And then it's such a, and also they don't want to do it just for the UK, because if they do it, they've got to extend it for other countries as well, or they're showing favouritism to one outside country unless there's a specific deal. And also the UK need to campaign for it. There's a 180 days in Spain campaign. Andrew Hesselden, who's been on this show, lovely man, very, very intelligent, and knows what they're campaigning for. But they're not actually campaigning to expand the 90-day rule. They're saying they want the same. No, I'm not going to explain it. Watch the programme, because it's more complicated than that. But I say it's not going to never happen, in my opinion. But I think it would take so long, and I don't think the political will is there. And you need the political will across the board for that to happen. But go to the 180 days in Spain campaign and join that campaign if you want something to happen. and focus on what he's saying, because the idea is to get an option for 90 plus 90 days, which is what EU citizens can get. They can do 90 days, then you can take a couple of days holiday in Portugal or France or wherever you want to go. Make sure you've got proof that you've done that, and then come back again for 90 days. As long as you don't go over your 183 in a year, or you'll have a problem with tax. So I think that's more what they're aiming for. Anyway, that's something for another different show. I'm sure we'll get Andrew back on if there's any more news about it. What do you reckon, Chris? Will they ever change it?
I reckon try and get that together to put the appointments out, but right now.
Can't hear you properly again. It's gone all wobbly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better now.
Am I on this microphone today? Hello?
Yes, you are, yeah.
I said they can't even get their act together to get the appointment system sorted out, the delegations, and they'll be part of that ruling. So let's get the small things of getting appointments right first.
Yeah.
But maybe if you went to that ruling, you wouldn't need so many. But that was the appointment system again was down for 2 days last week, and there's all sorts of earache.
There we go. Is there anything else we should talk about now? I mean, we've talked about stereotypes. Oh, actually, yes. There's one thing I've got in the notes here, which is in advance of moving. One thing we've said on quite a few shows when we've been doing hints and tips about moving to Spain is make sure when you're choosing where to live, make sure you've got access to a pharmacy easily, so that you've not got a half an hour drive to get there. I know most Brits especially want to live somewhere out in the country where it's peaceful and all you've got is bird song and you can't see any other properties. But if you need to get to the pharmacy quick, and that's always going to happen to just about everybody, I should say, and then there's doctors, you need access to a local health centre, and then there's the hospitals. When I have the hospital I went to for the colonoscopy, that's about a 35-minute drive, and the oncologist is, I'd say, an hour and 5 minutes away, and that's just to meet Chris in the car park, and then he's got another little drive to get us into the middle of town, so it could be more like an hour and a half altogether. So yeah, make sure you're close enough and able to access that kind of thing, or that you've got people who can drive you if necessary, because it's guaranteed that your car will break down when you need to get to one of those places. And what happens if you lose your partner and you need to get to an appointment? The colonoscopy, I wasn't allowed to drive after it, so I couldn't have driven there myself. And when I got my teeth done, I had all kinds of drugs to knock me out for that. So I had to get a lift there and back for that one. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, check the timetable on the pharmacy, because we've got one here which quite comically, and I made this mistake one day. It says it's got in it 24,365. That's this thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Call it a guide. I'll tell you how to find. There is a 24,365 pharmacy in every single town. I'll tell you about that now. But this one in particular says, and then in the small print it says, apart from the 1st, the 25th of December. So it's not 24,365. It's got 5 days when it's closed. I'm going, that's false advertising. But if you look for, there's La Guardia. So there's always a pharmacy which is open 24 hours, but isn't open because they have them little hatches.
Oh yeah.
So which is, I first learned this when I had to run out and get something for a baby. So I was like, oh, what do I do? I googled it, Chiriana. Farmacia de Guardia, and you look at it and they're like, oh, there's one in Chiriana, and you can only tell they're open because it's got the big light on outside. The rest of it looks closed down. Press a little button and they come. Some guy went, oh, what do you want? Paracetamol. There you go. So there is always 24-hour pharmacies, but they do alternate. So in this town, I think we've got 7 which do one a day.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep checking.
And that's the towns, but not the villages.
Maybe not the villages. No, I suppose the villages wouldn't. No,
we have to go down to the coast. And the nearest one that we found, I'm not going to say which town it's in because I'd be naming the pharmacy then. But lots of people have the experience of this pharmacy basically overselling and selling more expensive products than you need. And that happened to me when I needed something for some kind of Imodium product, and they sold me this really expensive one that was supposed to be natural. They went this is a natural product, and this is the one that we recommend. And they sold me something else as well to go along with it. They say but I didn't need it, and I could have got the equivalent of Imodium much cheaper. I ended up shelling out €30 for these two packs. It's ridiculous. There was only like 12 tablets in it.
Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot here. They do that. The pharmacies are quite. I don't know what it's like. I don't know in the UK because I can't remember ever going to one. But I know here they're terrible for it.
Yeah,
They're selling worse than the banks trying to sell insurance.
Yeah, the banks are always doing that. Excuse me, I've just had the blue on my little in-ear headphones. I've closed down, so I'm just going to go onto these ones. I can't hear anything. Hello, can I hear you now? Oh no, it's coming out the speakers. Let me just change the settings on this. We're going back to the old radio mode with the headphones on. Sound. External headphones. Hello. Are you there?
I'm here. We're all here.
Perfect. We're all still here. Don't forget, everybody, GoFundMe. Yes. Don't forget to hover over that. Any more donations, all accepted with graciousness. So,
one of the things I meant to mention about the pharmacy, one of the things they did sell me once, which was overpriced, but I found it was very good, was the liquid paracetamol.
Oh yeah, I've not seen that.
Really soft on the stomach. So instead of trying to, because they sell you tablets which are stomach protectors to then protect you against the thing that you're going to be taking. And after having glandular fever many years ago, my stomach wasn't as robust as it has been before. And but then I did explain this lady, and they've got liquid paracetamol in these little sachets, and the price has come down a lot now of them. And it doesn't make you, if you're sensitive to tablets, then there's actually quite a good alternative. But you can't get it subsidised on the social. If you go to the social and they give you a social, they'll just give you tablets. You go, can I swap that for that? They're like, no. So it's obviously
I didn't know they did that. I didn't realise that paracetamol was bad for you. Bad for your stomach. I know ibuprofen and those kind of tablets.
Yeah, and ibuprofen, they do it liquid as well.
That's handy. Mark says, if you successfully complete the 5 years process of applying for residency through the non-lucrative visa, can you use public healthcare free, or do you need to carry on with private healthcare? So that's if you're a permanent resident. Yeah,
again, that relates to what income you're going to have at the time. So it's contributionary based. So you as a permanent resident, you can get it if you don't qualify with your income and stuff. But if you've got enough income, you would suppose that off an LV that you would have, if you come back on LV, you probably have to pay the convenio especial.
Very good. Oh, we've got to say wave goodbye to Mad David. Have a good day, chaps. I'm off to Wetherspoons for a full English and a pint of Guinness. This is supposed to be about health, Mad David, not about killing yourself off in Wetherspoons. Anyway, enjoy. It's probably very cheap there. I shouldn't be advertising Wetherspoons, but everybody knows. P.S. Chris, I'll send you my address for my fridge magnet. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, thanks for that. That worked really well. I didn't have a special offer for my weekly updates. I gave away fridge magnets, and that worked really well. So I'm just waiting for yours now. The rest have been posted out. I'm on to Sean as well. He's got it away, but I still posted him one out.
Excellent. Beverly says, do supermarkets sell paracetamol, etc.? No, unless they've got a parapharmacy department like the Carrefour in Malaga has. Really big Carrefours. I think that they've got and you don't buy it on the shelves. It has like the chemist section where all the products are, but there's also a desk where you can go and I don't know if they do prescriptions, but you can get things like paracetamol and ibuprofen and those kind of things that you can only get from behind the counter. So yes. So not every supermarket. I think it's only the huge ones.
What we do have here, which I haven't mentioned, is herbalistas, the herbal places.
Oh yeah.
So they're very good. Now, I've never really, Lara's would be able to talk about this for a lot, so maybe you need to get her on the show and talk about that. But when I was sick with flu at at Christmas, and that terrible man flu we were talking about, really bad, which left me 3 days on the sofa. But the drugs that they gave me at the doctors were just, they're awful. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but it was sick. It was they gave me a strong thing, which wasn't good. And anyway, so I got rid of it all. And Lara went to the old herbalistic place and got some cough medicine from there, which was a gingery based type thing. Anyway, wasn't that cheap, but I have to say it worked like that.
Oh, cool.
Brilliant. And then a few other bits and bobs, but the herbal shops here, which are really, really, really good. So your natural herbalistas. So if you're into alternative treatments, and I have to say at Christmas, that's what helped me with the flu, then go and check them out.
Brilliant. Yes, there are quite a few shops like that. I've seen them in certainly all of the big towns. Yeah,
no, they are. And like the kids' medicines and stuff like that, they have the natural ones, which we use rather than the other ones. And it's good.
Brilliant. Well, we'll start to round up now, I think. I've got in the notes here talk about funeral plans and wills, but I'm going to have somebody come on the programme soon to talk certainly about the funeral plans. Somebody that's in the same business network that Chris and I are in. And what else were we going to talk about? There's also life insurance. If you need to talk about life insurance, then again, Sam Campbell is the one. Her details are in the video description below. And I was going to talk about some cancer stories. I was going to talk about all the lovely support I've had and all of the experiences that people have been talking about, positive experiences of getting through cancer. So I think I'll do a separate show about that. I mean, I'm doing that on the video diaries anyway. So do watch the video diaries that come out every Friday. Subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get notifications about that. And do click the like button as well. I've not mentioned that today. Smash that like button with a big sledgehammer. Yes. And tell us all about your experiences of private healthcare and prescription costs, etc., in your area in the description below, so that we all know and everybody gets the information. Anything else we were going to talk about? Anything else, Chris? Any final comments before we round up?
No, I think that's it. I mean, just before, as you say, when you're making your healthcare plans, remember before for your private health that you don't actually have to start your private health at the time of your appointment at the consulate. You can post-date it when you're coming in. And also it is possible to switch if you're going to be a state pensioner during your first 5-year temporary residency. You can switch from the private healthcare onto the state healthcare system, but make sure you've got the state healthcare registered before you get rid of your private, which comes back to what you were saying earlier on about getting the timing right, because you don't want to be paying for your private if you don't have to. But if you're switching from private to S1, the likelihood is you're going to have that in place for the contracted time until the other one's up and running. And we've successfully done renewals for people who switch from one to the other as well.
Brilliant. Anti's saying, bravo todos, hasta pronto, TTFN, and cue the Bee Gees. Ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Yeah, it is. And yes. Still alive. You have to do it in that voice as well. And FOF. Use the hashtag FOF, which stands for Freck Off Freddy. I should do that in an Irish accent tonight. It only works. Freck Off Freddy. And we're talking about Freddy the Bastard, who is my lovely tumour that we're going to get rid of together.
Yeah.
There you go. So, who do we have on next week's show? To be honest, I have no idea. I've got a few people who are just about to line up. Got some really exciting new guests coming up soon that I won't tell you yet, but I'll be pointing them out and telling everybody what they're all about, probably on the Facebook group or the Facebook page, and announcing that. live as we go through the week. Yes, and of course watch the video diary on Friday, because you will find out exactly what's happening once I've spoken to the oncologist. And so have any questions ready for next week, or put them on the Facebook page, the Facebook group, or under this video, or under any one of the videos. Oh, Yogi's just joined us. He says, "Hi guys, how are you all?" We're fine, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's dropped in 1.99 in GB pounds. Thank you so much, Yogi. There are lots of different ways to donate, and I think down on that side of the screen, over, I can't point my finger the right way, it's down there, there's a little dollar sign, and you can actually donate there. Lots of different ways of doing that, but thank you. And Anton Kez says, "Wash hands, great song, wash hands." Brilliant. I love these things. And lovely to see you too, Yogi. Yogi's talking about coming across this way and meeting up for a coffee or a drink, or even some substantial kind of food, whatever. And so I'll be in Spain in a couple of weeks' time. Jolly good then. Yeah, send us a message and we'll all get together. It's about time we had a gathering of all of the folks who've moved across because of Chris and I, and both of our channels. And we might have to do it several times in several different areas, mightn't we? Because there's a load of people over in Alicante and Almeria, and rather than
start with a Malaga get together, see how that works.
Yeah. So who wants to come to that? Tell us in the comments below, because we'll be going off air shortly and the live chat will disappear. So thanks everybody for joining us, and of course thank you, Chris, for being a lovely chat person today. And also thanks everybody for watching the video back afterwards and leaving comments and hitting the like button and doing the GoFundMe thing in the corner there, or buyingmeacoffee.com. That link is still below in the video description. Either way, it all goes to help YouTooSpain and get me through this thing. And also to help Liz as well. She's worried about what might happen over the next few months, weeks, years. It could take a while. I don't know. So I will see you either on the Wednesday evening video. I don't know if the Wednesday evening videos are going to keep going when I can't, but I'm going to keep on doing Saturday lives for as long as I possibly can. Even if I can't get up these stairs, I'm going to do it from somewhere in the house with my laptop, so you might get a view of my bedroom wall or something like that. And so I'll keep on seeing you at Saturday mornings at the regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Canaries, 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe, 4 o'clock in the morning if you're in the US. And actually, to those viewers who are in the US, I'm going to have somebody on the show fairly soon. This is one of the exciting new guests who is going to be talking about bringing people over from the US. He's got a new business starting up, so I may well be doing a show later on in the day here so that all of you can watch live. So that's an exciting new development. So that's all for this week. Somebody pass around the health cookies, let's call them now, the good health cookies. And so it's peace and love from me, and peas and fluff from Chris. And here's one final message from all of us here and all of the voices in my head at YouTooSpain. Everybody, still alive, and let's all do the cancer dance. And here we go. See you soon. Bye for now. Bye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right, then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.